NZB Kiwi has been on everybody's lips over the past few weeks. We've had the slot auction, and now we can hear from two of the slot holders as we head forward towards the big race over the next 12 months.
Well, about 2 weeks ago, Daniel, you signed the docket at Karaka like you've done a few times before, but this time differently for a slot in the NZB Kiwi. First of all, what's the motivation behind that?
I think it's just the re-energisation of racing. It's that was a big part. We walked in with no strategy. It's part, Barneswood team is part of it. Chris and Sarah and Gur and Darren Brady as well. And we just talked about it. We just wanted to support the initiative, and that was it. That was pretty much it.
Okay, you've got a slot now. What or when do you start thinking about what to do with it?
Yeah, we didn't think that far, mate. We actually don't know. So we've got a WhatsApp group going, and I think all eyes are on the 2-year-old racing for the next few months, and we'll just keep an eye on what's happening over here and abroad, and I guess start whittling down. It's if something becomes a little bit more obvious, we'll take a bit more interest, but we're open for business, and the idea is if we've got one of our own, that's great, but if not, we're out there.
Have you spoken to anybody about how the mechanics of a slot work? Because obviously there's people who have done them for the Everest and for harness races and all that sort of stuff, and I think most people think they're 50-50, but of course those times are changing. Do you have any idea how you're going to run your slot?
Not really. To be fair, it's almost like setting a book. If I was a bookmaker, I'd be, I think it depends on the calibre of the horse that you're dealing with at the time. If you're dealing with an orchestral, hey, you're probably prepared to take a bit more of a haircut. If you're dealing with a roughie, well, potentially the pendulum might swing a little bit the other way.
Did you say haircut?
Oh, Mick. Many moons ago.
Let's talk about, that was mean. Let's talk about going early, going late. Some people, like they signed Nature Strip for an Everest early and it worked for them once. Do you think that your team are going to want to sign a horse early, or are you going to want to see who's a post-Christmas 3-year-old?
Well, I think it's a little bit different. I think we're probably looking at the waiting game to a certain degree. With the Everest, they're older horses, the form's on the board, and they're normally pretty consistent. They're racing up against each other most weeks, whereas the 2-year-olds leading into the 3-year-olds, there's going to be a little bit of movement in that field and that pecking order as horses mature, and so I think the idea is probably just a bit of a wait and see. But hey, if something puts its hand up, then we're keen to talk.
What about you? You're mates with Cameron George and you're mates with Andrew Seabrook. You couldn't get them to put the NZB Kiwi on this year. Crecchetti, homebred, 1,500 metres around Ellerslie, that would have been nice.
Oh, I couldn't have caught them to put them in that stranglehold. That's the problem. I certainly would have enjoyed that headlock, but no, at the end of the day, there's a lot of science behind why it needs to be a 3-year-old and an autumn 3-year-old race. So I'm all for it, and I think it just keeps those later 3-year-olds in this country, which is great.